Hi, it's Gadget UK here again, extra channel video here. The UltraSatan, it's a hard disk emulator for the Atari ST series of computers, and the Falcon as well I think. Uses the ASCII port here. It stopped working. I think the last time I used this, I tried to use it on a Falcon and it wouldn't work, and then I came to use it on this ST. Well, there'll be a repair of on the main channel and it wasn't working. I tried it on my STFM just to rule out there had been a fault with this or the fault with the ST here, and it still wouldn't work. Now, right from the start, I had problems with this thing where I would sit on top of the ST. In this example here, I think the port's at the back there, and I just sat like that. And then just once or twice when I first got it, I'm like, the hard drive's not working. Why isn't it booting from hard disk? And I would like fiddle around with the cable, put it back on, and then it was alright. It was okay. It'd be alright for months and months and months, and then I'd move things around, clean the ST, connect it all back up. Hard drive not working again. And I'm like, what is wrong? Insert, remove the cards. May start working again. Sometimes insert, remove the cards, still not working. Disconnect the cable, reconnect the cable, still not working. Move the drive over there instead of over here, and it would work. And I'm like, is it the cable? It must be the cable. And at that point I checked the cable, I couldn't find anything wrong with the cable, and that's basically where we're at here. We've now got to this point where it just doesn't work. It doesn't work on here, it doesn't work on the STFM, it doesn't work on the Falcon. So yeah, I hope it's not broken. Came from Lothrak this. There'll be a link to his website down below. Really nice, these drives. So it's trying to boot from an UltraSatan here. This is an external hard disk. If you watch the LEDs here, it does inquire them, it's left, right, and that's it. We get the green desktop, minus icons because there's no floppy drive connected. Does it need a floppy drive connected? I don't know. Obviously we've got no floppy interface on board on these. You've got to use just external. Is that something to do with it though? I'll try reset. I've tried reseating the cards, swapping the cards around. I checked the connections on this cable because for a long while I suspected there might be a bad connection on this cable, but it seems to be fully wired. And yeah, it's just not working. Try and reset. I don't know. I'm really puzzled. I think the next thing we're going to do, because you know what, I have had problems with this UltraSatan since I first got it. It would be a bit random. I was going to say go inside it. Yeah, we can get the screws out here. I'm going to go inside it. My brain is telling me, my memory, that this has got a real-time clock in it. I could be wrong. I've just got vague recollections of this having a real-time clock. And I'm just wondering if the battery's flatlined, then maybe something to do with the real-time clock is stopping this from booting. I mean, I don't imagine that would be a thing. You'd think if the battery had just gone flat, it would no longer hold the time of day. I do wonder if there are other firmware settings it's lost or something, but I don't know. It's that long since I got this. I mean, it kind of almost predates the channel. I got a notification on YouTube the other day saying the channel's been going for 12 years. I said, congratulations. I'm like, God, prison sentences can be less than that. Let's take these out. So it's black to the left, blue to the right. Let's try and separate the two halves there. Yeah, there is a battery lock. I thought there was. So that is definitely going to need swapping out. It's just a CR2032. There's very little else on this board, on this side. On the other side, obviously, we can have CPLD or two. Anyway, let's just do what needs to be done while we're here. I don't think this is going to make it suddenly miraculously boot, but stranger things have happened. Right, so I've got a new CR2032 here from JCB. Yep. You heard me right there, JCB. You know those people that make diggers? Apparently they make CR2032s as well. It never ceases to amaze me how many manufacturers seem to get onto the game of creating batteries, adding batteries into things, even though that's not what they do. JCB, like I say, for machinery and stuff, aren't they? Like I say, bulldozers and diggers and things. How on earth do you get this out? I know what's going to happen next. I'm going to have to fit one of these on it, aren't I? A new battery holder. There you go. It's coming up. Oh my god, that was tight. Yeah, I'm now just going to bend these clips back that way a little bit. And the surface of the prong on the right is kind of just got folded upwards. It should be bent downwards a little bit. So I'm just going to grip it and straighten it like that. That's it. Then I'll get the new battery in, making sure to get no fingerprints on it. It's crazy what I'll do. Yeah, so it has to get tilted that way, I think. Oh god. Like that. Then press down. Hang on a minute. Yeah, that has not gone in right. It's one of these holders that's just a pain. It's like bent the prongs right over. That's it. I think actually you lift it out from the top side, not the side where I bent those prongs. And of course I can now just measure on there. I'll measure the old battery as well while we're at it. You can argue do that before you swap it out, but you know what, after 10 years there's no way that battery's got any charge on it. I'm going to measure from the contacts here now. 3.3 volts, let's measure the old one. I know you couldn't see the meter there, but yeah, trust me, it's 3.3 volts. And the old one, 3 volts. Surprisingly, that's still a good battery, even after 10 years. It shows you how little current that uses for the real-time clock side of things. Anyway, so that battery changed. There's literally nothing else you might want to do on this. It's got an interesting switch there. What do you do with that? Is that for resetting it or something? S2. If you thought the contacts were dirty, you could, you know, get a cotton swab with some deoxit on there. It looks alright. And the solder points that are visible look alright. So, you know, I've got no reason to suspect that this is the issue, and that's not going to make any difference to what we've just done. In 10 years, I don't think I've ever cleaned this. Right, black's to the left, blue to the right, connect it back up to its cable here. It's keyed, that cable as well, you can't get it the wrong way around. And obviously the side that goes into the ST is keyed in the terms of the shape of it. Oh, it's not plugged in, is it? Switch it off, I haven't got power. Yeah, it uses like a micro USB to power it. I think I went with an old phone connector or something at some point. Let's try that. I'd be very surprised if it sprung back to life. No, it's doing the same. But it's not booting on here either. So there is definitely a problem with my UltraSatan, which is so annoying. And I think it's the problem I've always had with this, where it's been glitchy. When it was set up on the table, I could just wobble it around a bit and then eventually it'd start working. Which may make you think the cable, but I don't think so. I've checked the cable, I don't think the cable's the issue. So I'm now going to take it to pieces again. And I put these in the PC, the two cards, and managed to boot off the images on them, you know, using an emulator. So, it can't be the cards, there's no corruption there or anything, you know, because that's the obvious thought as well, that maybe there's a corruption. Good God, those are stiff. Granted, my hands have got a bit weaker in my old age. I've got like really thin hands, and they seem to have got worse in the last few years. Yeah, anyway, this is the only thing I haven't done with this ever since I got it. I've never taken the PCB out to have a look at the stuff on the underside, but it's always been a tiny bit glitchy. That's nice, isn't it? I can't even see what make that is. It's like advanced something, isn't it? Analog devices. Yeah, so it's got an analog devices chip on it. ADSP-BF531 SBSTZ400. Oh, very nice. Yeah, so I mean, is it a bad solder point on that? I don't know. Doesn't look like it. I mean, everything looks alright on here, if I'm completely honest. That's an interesting one. Someone's put like a blob of hot melt glue or something, or some epoxy there on that. That certainly would secure that port, so there's no chance of it easily breaking off. That's quite a good idea. I mean, the build quality from Lothrak is always second to none, you know, like, they are really well built, the devices he sells. So we see the LEDs, so it's not like this is, you know, something that's completely not connecting somewhere. Well, if it's a dry joint or bad joint somewhere, obviously it could be a case of something's not connected somewhere. I don't know, it looks alright to me. I don't see any signs of any clues or anything there, really. Just having a quick look at the PCB under the microscope here. Just to see, well, what's on there. Yeah, so you can see you've got some flux around there. Got those little transistors there. What's that mark on that one? That looks a bit suspect there, doesn't it? Let's just touch that. It might be a bit of flux. This is the thing, you can see things like that and think you've got a fault, but yeah, it's just some flux, look. Yeah, you think you've got a fault and you don't, you just have a bit of flux is what you have. And of course you can measure the transistors there between the 3 different pins, compare them to each other. Yeah, voltage regular, it's a 1117, isn't it? 3.3. And there's the analog devices main chip, ADSP BF531. Very nice. Black Fox, does that say? Black something? Can't even see it. That there. Not really clear what that is. It's nice though. Little crystal, little IC there, whatever that is. Don't know, I'm guessing clock gen. Another one there with another crystal, look. A few different clocks on here. Another little IC there. It's impossible to see it, this magnification with this lighting. Edge of the board, some caps, some more transistors, LEDs, more caps. That's that connector, isn't it, on the side? It's probably like the JTAG or something. I'll show you that in a sec, because yeah, I only just noticed that now. Yeah, the connector here is going to be for JTAG or something similar, you know, programming header. And then we've got this on the inside, which I think, like I say, is used for firmware updates. There's a fingerprint on that button cell. You know what I'm like, that's got to be cleaned off. You can't have a nice shiny battery with a fingerprint on it. Certainly not. It'll bug me, even if it is inside the lid. It's amazing what things I get a little bit OCD about. It's really nice though, and even though it's like 11 or 12 years old, this, not much dust has got in there, has it? Well, you'd imagine it wouldn't, because the shell was pretty sealed, apart from the little gaps for the SD cards at the front. You know, there's nowhere for anything to get in, but likewise there's nowhere for air to ventilate out either. But I mean, it's been good all this time, other than this intermittency. So, yeah, I'll spend some more time looking over the board here to see if I can work out what might be wrong, but I think the board is alright. I think all the solder points are alright. There's a tiny particle somewhere there. Let me show you the microscope. Yeah, you can see it here. Let me show you with the thing before I wipe it off. There. It's just a bit of dust, I think. There you go, it's gone. If it sprung back to life, it was that, but I doubt it. Seriously doubt it. Just what you get on things like this, you get particles of dust and stuff. And obviously I could zoom further in with magnification and press, you know, just gently touch each pin like this and work my way along. But I don't think it's a solder point. I still think it's that cable. Having a ribbon cable like that, bad idea if you ask me. That's the Achilles heel with that design. I need to pull it further forward now because the cable won't reach. Oh, so annoying. see it power on there. So, and if you stick these in, you kind of know they recognise when it goes flash, like that one didn't. Yeah, it detected it. Did it detect it? Yeah, it did. Let's try again. It just gives up, doesn't it? It's like, looks at that drive, looks at that one, and then nothing. And that's what I don't get. Like, is it not seeing the card? But we know the cards work, so it's really irritating, this. So I'm going to try something a bit weird here. I'm going to heat the PCB, just on the off chance it is about some slightly bad solder point. Only 130 degrees here. And you have to heat quite considerable time to get actual any, valid temperature into the board, if you see what I mean. The ground plane will absorb a lot of the heat here. But I'm just doing this just to see if it did spring to life miraculously. Nope, that's ignored it. And this is obviously where the chip is on the underside here. I might need to power cycle the UltraSatan as well. Nope. Got to be the cable, hasn't it? It's got to be the cable. Can't be anything else. Yes, I'm getting desperate here. I'm going to try a different SD adapter. I can't see how that would be the issue, but anyway, it fits better into that one. And it recognised it straight away there. Switch it off. Switch it on. I'm even wondering about voltage drop, like maybe I need to get some contact cleaner into that switch and socket here. Like maybe it's about oxidisation and we get a slightly low voltage level which is messing things up. I don't know, let's try that. Still not working though. It's very annoying. Have I said that enough times yet? I'm even going to get some of that. Even though that's never been disconnected. Some in there. Some in there. Switchy, switch. A switch, I can't even say it. Because you can get voltage drop across switches, and maybe the switch has always been the issue with this, I don't know. I doubt it. Alright, it's come on, switch it on. It's probably not going to work still. What is wrong with it? I've also noticed my SD card that used to be in the side of this driver is no longer there, and I don't know where it is. It might be in the Falcon. I think it's in the Falcon. I think that's what I did. I took it out and put it in the Falcon. But nevertheless, it's not working, is it? Let's put that SD adapter over, we'll keep that one out. I don't know. Is this something wrong with this? I mean, how would it be faulty? I may have tried to connect it to the Falcon and that might have done something to it. But it didn't do something to the image on there, and then there was, like I say, because I can boot that from the emulator. So the image on here I think is alright. I don't know. I'm clutching at straws. I'm coming back to the theory, my memory, of moving this cable back here, like moving it round on my ST like this, and then suddenly it would start working, which would lead you to think it's got to be the cable. It can't be anything else. But like right now, it doesn't matter where I position it, it ain't booting. I've tried like pressing around with this cable here. Let's try pressing the wire right into the connector. Nope. You see, the thing is with this cable, I've tested this cable before and really not been conclusive with anything. In other words, like there's one pin that's not connected, but there's one pin less on this side than on that side. If that makes sense. So it's quite difficult to do. You know, you've got to have like multiple hands or a vice or something. For test, I start here, maybe. Don't know where that goes. Yeah, and the flux on the solder points do not help. Anyway, if we just go along like this, that's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the flux on the solder points is cheesing me off. You can see there's like a right wind blowing out there. You can hear the right wind blowing out there. See, like that pin there doesn't appear to be joined. Maybe that's the issue. Maybe it's that pin. I need to just go and have a look at the pin out of this port and determine if it's that. Let's check the one next to it again. Yeah, the one next to it's there, but this corner one here ain't connected. So maybe it is about this pin. Yeah, you know what? That is the issue. Just looking at a diagram Dukey did, who's one of the guys who created, I think, the UltraSatan. This pin down here should go somewhere. And it should go to the one where you'd expect it to go. You know, if we test the second to the end there, pin 2 I think it is actually. That goes to there, and then pin 1. It's not going there. So it is pin 1. Pin 1 seems to be balked on this. So let's take that to pieces again. Yeah, I know you're not seeing me do that bit. I did that in the other video. I took this to pieces. Yeah, in the other video you'll see me reassembling this and telling you what the fix was. Yeah, so I just wrapped this up into its own fix video here. The question now is, how do we fix it? Because, as I showed when I went in the other video, I know you haven't seen it yet, it's got like a plastic hood on it. You can't actually get to any solder points per se. It looks almost like it's crimped or something, or like the pins were soldered or crimped onto the ends of the wire and they were pushed into a unique type of DB, whatever, how many pins this is, connector. You'll see what I mean when we go inside this now. Hopefully nothing just fell inside the power supply. You see this here? This is weird. I've never seen any of the connectors like this. And you can't pull the pins out, but they're going through the plastic and somehow connected to the pins. And pin 1, we know, is the issue here. Pin 1 is not joined up. So how do you fix it is the point. How do you remedy that? It's a bit of a mare, really. It's why I haven't fixed this in all the years I've had it. It's obviously this one here, this black one, which funnily enough has got like a bit of heat shrink around it. You think if that was something like power or something, it wouldn't even work. But how do you get it out? This is the problem, isn't it? It's like, how do you fix that? Oh, it's coming out, look. Oh, there we go. There we go, there's the bare wire. Can you see that? I just gently touched it and the wire's come off. So I think, I'm not sure what I think now. Somehow I've got to join something to that and get it back in there. They just push fit. I'm amazed this even ever worked, to be honest. Let's strip it back and try and ram it in. Let's see if that will work it. It's a new technique for you on the channel. If it doesn't work at first, ram it in. It's got to be this. It can't be anything else. It would explain why I've always had a problem with it right from the very, very, very first point when I connected it to my machine. And let's say just where you would sit it on the table would dictate, does it work or not? Let's just move it a bit. Yeah, now it does. I'm like, I'm sure it's that cable. I'm sure that cable's evil. Now we know it is. It's an evil cable. And the danger with something like this as well is where you try to fix one wire is that you end up displacing other wires. Does that make sense? You just press a bit in the wrong direction, and before you know it, two of the wires pop out or aren't making a connection. God, it's got a covering on it as well. There's like 2 lots of covering. It's a mare, this. That's a mare. Like, whose idea was it to get this? I don't know, what was wrong with the normal connector where you can solder the things in? That's what I don't get. This is quite possibly the worst type of connector you could have got. No disrespect to Lothrak, yeah, but, or whoever made this. The design is great, the assembly of everything else is great. This cable is absolute bollocks, if you ask me. It really is. Because there's no, you know, this is the thing, there's no future potential to fix it and maintain it. I'm faced with having to cut this off and redo my own cable or something. Which, yeah, I could do. It'd be a bit of a trauma, wouldn't it? And maybe it's been done this way to try and make it more reliable long term with this black plastic thing. But I don't think so. I think that's going to be a source of things like this, where they just break out. And it's about the cable that's used. I don't know if I mentioned that. This type of cable, with the slightest bit of pressure and a funny angle, if it's not held really well at this point here, any twist either way, that's it, things pop out, things break, the wire breaks. This type of wire breaks really easy. You'll know what I mean if you ever try and cut up an IDC cable, like a floppy or hard disk cable, and try to use it for something other than what it's intended to be used with. What ends up happening is you just bend it once or twice, it breaks. They break like you just breathe the wrong way and they break. So I'm going to try and just shove that in there. I might even try and heat it. I don't know, see if I can solder it in. You know what? I'm going to get medieval on its ass. What I'm going to do is just pull this right out of the way. I'm going to cut the black plastic. I'm going to cut it. I don't care. I'm going to cut a little corner out. And then we'll be able to solder it. Because clearly it's not going to be reliable any other way. Oh my god. This is what I mean about breaking the other connections. That's right deep in there, I tell you that. This thing. Let me get the microscope on. I'll show you the microscope. Note to self: never buy one of these cables again. I mean, I've said this before. Whenever I buy anything from anybody, it doesn't matter what it is, I'll get a problem with it. No one else will. I will. I will have a problem with it. And I did have a problem from new. I did that with one of the other things I got from Lothrak. I got one of those Div MMCs or whatever they're called, and yeah, mine didn't even work. I connected up, didn't work straight away. Right, you can see what I mean here. So I've just managed to just chop away the plastic around here, and we can almost reach it now, but not quite. And you can see they're just crimped. These wires are crimped into these. Good luck me not damaging these other ones. That's what I need to be really careful of now. I'm short space here. I need to move the ST a bit. That maybe. I just want to get rid of the plastic. Just in order that we can, yeah, I might be able to pull it off like that. The plastic's going to melt. But, yeah, well, I just got to try and do what I can here. Let's try and get that in there. Like, is that going in the hole? Feels like it is. Right, let's now bring the solder and just crazily solder it. Hopefully not melt the other connections and not stress the other connections out. I just figure if we can get in at the right angle here and get a load of solder there, that might do it. Yes, it's a mess, but, well, beggars can't be choosers. I think I'm just going to go with that. See what happens. Nope. Obviously, I'm pulling it out by the cable, the actual thing, not the cable. Let's now just try these pin outs again and just see if that is joined. Maybe it's not joined, maybe it looks joined and it isn't joined. It's one of these things that's painful to test. Like the meter probes are doing what they want, this cable's doing what it wants. So let's try that. Right, so that's the second one, first one. Still not joined. I know it is now. Let's try the one above. Yeah, that's that. Right, so let's work on the other side. I think there's multiple ones not joined up here, you know. Or they're testing on beep test here, but then when you move the cable, you know, I'm not explaining this very well. Because they're crimped in, I think me pressing on them here is making it join back to the wire. So I think I'm wasting my time. I think literally they all need pulling out and resoldering in. Yeah, I've just proven that by just touching this and it's come straight out. So when I thought this was in, it wasn't. It was just like sat in the corner there. Let's disconnect it from the drive again. Oh, God. That should have soldered. I can't believe that didn't solder. I mean, if it is a ground, we could have a latch-up problem. It may be dead because we've had differing ground levels or something. Because, you know, like this is powered on its own. It's not powered from the ST power supply. You know, different power supplies with different ways that they're generated there, you can have a voltage mismatch as your grounds are floating away from each other. This just feels really wrong and bodgy. It's got to be joined this time on it, so I'll give it one more try. Switch it on. It's working. Yay! That was it. That was it. You can see that there. What a mare that was. Well, it's good to know that it still blooming works, isn't it? Yeah, so with the other ST I was working on, I can now boot from this hard disk on that ST. And that's what I was trying to do. This is the reason my ST's come out of a storage crate here. But there's going to be a number of things on this ST coming soon because got a little bit of dirt or something on that. Yeah, it's my beloved 4160 STE. It's not an STE, it's an STFM actually. But it's got an internal Gotek, buttons for it, screen fitted here. Again, it's got a bit of dirt or something on that screen that needs a wipe. It's got MIDI built in. I've done a stereo mod to this. It's got TOS 1.04 Rainbow TOS. It's got 16 MHz CPU as you saw on the boot screen there. It's got 4 MB RAM, but I want to do a few things. I want to replace the power supply, tidy up some of the wiring, fit a new capacitor bank on it to replace the capacitors to give it better smoothing capabilities. Anyway, and a few other things. So watch this space, there'll be a video on this coming up soon. And there'll be a few links top right as we've gone through this video anyway. It's covering earlier stuff on the channel, but it was really old, crusty videos. Yeah, so 10 out of 10 for the PCB design, 10 out of 10 for the lovely steel cases on these and the, you know, powder coated paints, like really good. The rubber feet are nice on this as well. That's another nice finishing touch. That's all looking good. Yeah, there's the hole for that button on the inside. Anyway, let's get those back in there. And if anything, you've learned with these to be super careful of how you handle this cable, because I was always careful with that. It's been really carefully, you know, used. But at some point, just the very fact it sits here and sits on top of there, it became unstable. You know, like one time I had it on, didn't boot, and I'm like, what's going on here? And all I did is just unplug it, plug it back in, it was alright. And at that point I'm thinking, is it the cable? Well, we know it was the cable now. So I'm going to be careful with this moving forward, that I don't stress it out in any way. These, yeah, just go in there, the long ones, like that. And then this has got nuts captive in it. I think I forced those nuts in last time. Yeah, so the nuts are still in place, thank goodness. That means I can just get the screw there and screw it in. So we should get my 16 megahertz thing, I think, and 4 meg. Oh, it's in 8 megahertz, I'll switch it off. Yeah, I've got switches on the back here, switches for pretty much everything. I can't remember which one's which now, I need to look round the back. What's that, 16 meg? Oh, that's 16 megahertz, right, so that one there should be 16. Yeah, you'll see that in another video when we go inside it. Yeah, the screen is scrunched up there. Tell you what, let's just power cycle it till we get a good screen. It's just this TV. There we go. So it should now show 16 megahertz when it gets past that bit. It was a bit of code I wrote. I wrote some code there to work that out. There you go. CPU run at 16 megahertz. Yay! Oh, I've missed this machine. When it was set up in the other room, I used to use it fairly regularly, but well, I haven't been able to do that since we moved in here. But well, things are about to change. That's what I was looking for, bomb jack. That definitely allows you to run using MIDI. You may even have to press something when it comes on here, can't I? Let's remember. Now, you can hear the MIDI. It's just it. There you go. I started it. Obviously, I've not got a joystick connected at the moment. Don't know what the keys are for this, if there are any. Yeah, you've got to use joystick, I think. And of course my normal sound comes out of this as well, not just the MIDI. And it's stereo and it's amplified now. If I just point those away from each other, you might be able to hear the stereo separation if I start xenophobe. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, one of the speakers is picking up hum from the PSU. But if I point you down here, you can hear different sounds coming from different sides. That's cool, isn't it? I love it. I love the mods that I did to this ST. So yes, incredible how hard that was to fix. I'm sorry the video went on quite a bit. We did quite a lot of repetitive different things to try and work out the issue. You know, the contact cleaner I sprayed in here and I sprayed in there. The issue with the cable, it's an Occam's razor again, isn't it? The simplest explanation being the most likely. If when you move something it starts working or stops working, it's going to be the cable. Yeah, unless it's a bad solder point. But the cable is going to be the number one issue with anything like this. But the reason I thought it wasn't the cable, and why I did everything but looking at the cable, is because I'd measured this 2 other times previously and measured connectivity from every single pin here to this side. I even pulled this out here, let me show you. Pulled this out, put some pin strips in here so that I could easily measure like that. Yeah, I just like held it like that and I measured me like beep 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 all the way along, connections all the way along. The point when I discovered the problem after the first bit of soldering it broke off again, didn't work, it was still measuring as connected even though the solder was disconnected on that pin 1. And the point there is when you just get your probe and you press like this here, you're moving the back of the connection against the wire. So a crimped wire in a hole that's not very well joined. When you press it from this side, oh, you'll get connectivity. Beep. As soon as you let go, you haven't got connectivity. But you measure connectivity, and it's there, and you pull away, and you lose it. Does that make sense? That's what was happening with that connection after I first tried to solder it. The second time, I made sure the solder was really, really, really good on that point, and it's solid. And that's the problem. That's why when I'd measured this 2 times previously, every pin was connected all up. No, they're not. Anyway, hopefully you found that interesting. Please check out the main channel. We've got over 800 or 900 videos on there now. Not all as waffly as this particular repair. And we will be doing a load more things with the ST. Please check out the links down below for one of these from Lothrak. They're really good. And I'm sure you could buy 100 of these cables and never have the problem I had. Right from day one with this, I had an issue. Just like I did when I got that Div MMC from Lothrak. But you know what? Lothrak sold thousands of those Div MMCs and never had a problem. It's me. I'm cursed. I'm jinxed. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next video.